Spice, I've returned.
So today we have here Sister Spice.
Hello everyone, how are you?
It's been a while since. How long do you want these?
More? Whoa, maybe right there.
So today we have a very special guest, Sister Spice.
Hello everyone. I'm just kidding. Hi everyone. Hey everyone. Guess what I got today? Creepy Reddit stories.
Now we're just going to trim them down.
Trim them down?
We're trimming them down. I'm not keeping them this long. Like here. Let's do some short office nails.
Girl, what are you doing? Back it up. Put it maybe right there.
Okay, we didn't really trim them down. We trimmed off the number. So today we have here Sister Spice. Hi! So you guys are probably wondering what she got on. Hey guys, Nails by Vic face reveal. Here's the nails we're going to be working on today. Oh boy, are those things scary. So today we have here Sister Spice. And you're like, well, we just saw Sister Spice. So today we have back in the salon finally, Sister Spice.
Hello there.
So I got a really nice comment that basically wanted Sister Spice back and some creepy Reddit stories. So today we're back again with Sister Spice. Oh yeah. So today we have here Sister Spice.
Hello.
And we're gonna be doing her nails today. I'm going to work this around all the cuticle areas. Should put on the higher speed for my favorite client.
You say that's all your clients?
No, just my best one. Where do you want these? To the cuticle, right? Close to the cuticle as possible.
How are we even gonna do that back design? I crank my finger and it's get off. Oh, I'm so excited for you to get painting on those flowers.
Me too.
Oh, that's just so ugly.
My sanity level is a 1, but I'm gonna wait until we get up to a 5 to eat this thing. It's a caramel.
Why do you have a sanity level, huh?
You know, it's tough being on the other side there. I'm scared. You're scared. No.
Guys,
It was because of this chocolate bonbon I had to get.
The chocolate she mentioned. And my cat went inside the pantry. Sister Spice closed the pantry door. And my cat's been trapped in there ever since. That's a creepy Reddit story for you. This is the culprit that got stuck in the pantry. Look at her feet. You're not too traumatized, right? Do the funkiest pose ever. Okay, client, show me your nails. Client, what are you doing?
This is my nail pose. It shows off every angle. Top, side, back.
You know, because this client, she's a really demanding client. So, you know, sometimes I go flying off the rail. But I didn't this time.
Thanks for listening to my Reddit story. Sister Spice is signing out.
That's creepy. Welcome to the new season of Nails and Nightmares.
Guys, Sister Spice is finally back. It's been over a year since we've last seen her here at the salon, and she has come back for a new nail set and some new creepy stories. So this is going to be the first episode of, just imagine a season 2 of our creepy Reddit stories, but this is going to be a new season, refurbished. It has a title even, Nails and Nightmares. Yeah, genius. So for her nails, we're going to be doing 2 parts. In one part, we'll do one hand, and in the other part, we'll do the other hand, and we'll tell some stories in each episode. So today, we're just going to focus on this hand right here. As you can see, Sister Spice is tatted up now.
One little
So this is her label, her branding, her marking. If you see this, this is Sister Spice. So now you know.
I'm marked. I'm marked.
Yep.
You want to see my other tattoo?
Do I show them your other tattoo?
I just put my arm right here. It's on theme with everything that we do.
Boom. Tatted. Yeah, she's pretty hardcore now. So we're just going to get right into this nail set. Today we're going to be doing this design right here. We want to make them duck nails. Yeah, it's just a nice orange, bright, summery nail design. So let's go ahead and get started on the nail prep before we get into the creepy stories. So as you can see, Sister Spice's nails are very crusty. She hasn't had her nails done in over a year now. These puppies need some help. I'm gonna start with some cuticle remover because, yeah, there's no way I'm scraping that up. Well, let that sucker soak.
Cuticle remover that I bought you because I knew my cuticles was something else. I came with supplies.
Okay, after the cuticle softener is on, we're going to try and push back these cuticles. Pretty cool having a tatted person on my channel. Something different to look at, you know? Now I'm gonna use this drill bit and work this around the cuticle area. Okay, cuticles are trimmed up. Sister Spice's cuticles scare me a little bit. They're a living organism in and of itself, so I'm a little nervous to trim them down sometimes. Yeah, this is where we're at. So now I'm gonna go in with this fine grit sanding band and just file over the surface of the nails and around the cuticle area. So for the nail tips, we're going to be doing duck nails. So I have these duck nail tips here. And then also another thing, we're going to be putting on a peel off base coat. In case she wants to come back and get her nails done again, we can just easily pop them off. But with this, it should last pretty long still as well. So to glue on the nail tips, I'm gonna use base coat because it sticks. I can just cure it on to this peel off base coat. It's a bit easier than regular nail glue.
Jello mellow.
So it's currently raining outside, so you might hear some ASMR rain sounds, but we're just gonna get gluing on these tips now using the base coat. And I'm gonna have my client hold the UV flashlight and cure it on whenever I tell her to. Okay, we got the duck nails on. I think they look good, but we are gonna be chopping these down, guys. I know Sister Spice always gets long, extravagant nails, and usually I just don't even cut the nail tip. That's a lie. We always cut the nail tip, but usually not that much.
Right there. Okay, we didn't really trim them down.
But today, you know, she has work and she hasn't really had nails in a long time, so we gotta cut these down. They're probably not gonna be as duck nailed as the original, obviously, because the more longer it is, the more flared out. Okay, we're gonna trim these down now. So where do you want them? Like down here.
What?
Maybe like right there. It'll give it like a nice squared shape.
Oh my god! It's like, oh, it's done now. Can't go any longer.
Yeah, that's not that short.
Okay, yeah, I like her. I like her a lot.
I don't think it even fits.
Whoa, it doesn't fit in there.
Stiletto shape.
Stiletto shape.
Coffin.
No, because
That's
this is
the real
a
coffin.
This is a real coffin shape. Like when people say coffin nails, like it never looks like
No,
this.
yeah. That went inside my shirt. Oh my god.
And if anyone's wondering what type of shirt that Vic's wearing, it says Papa, the man, the myth, the legend.
I told them that in my live stream.
She's still wearing the same shirt from
Yo.
that live stream.
I don't quite know what to do for this because it's. Get in there! How did it fit before? Now it can't fit.
Because you gotta do a corner and then squish the corner.
Okay. But then I can't adjust it. It slides right off.
Guys, if you're gonna do duck nails, this is gonna be a reality.
Okay, nails are trimmed down. Now we're gonna get to shaping them. So we're gonna add the crescent moon shape at the tip. So I'm gonna use my nail drill and drill a nice U shape here. But I am not gonna really file the sides because I do not wanna file away any of the width. As you can see, the thumbnail is already just looks like a square. I don't know how to prevent that, but I guess when I put the polygel on, I'll just try and make it look more flared maybe.
I'm feeling like the real me is back again.
Wow. Finally, let's add on the final layer of base coat and then we can get into the polygel and the creepy stories. Okay, so the nails have the base coat on them, and now we're going to get started on the polygel. The base of these nails are all going to be this one nude color, and Sister Spice is going to get started on the creepy story.
Hey guys, it's Sister Spice, and we're gonna go ahead to get started with our creepy story. The title is The Man Who Always Waved at Me at the Bus Stop. This one's part 1. This is probably going to sound like nothing at first. It felt like nothing at the time. I think that's why I didn't really question it until it was too late. I didn't feel scared, not right away. Just weird. You know, that low-level offness you can't quite name? That's what this was. It felt like standing near a buzzing light you can't see, barely there but constant. Anyways, I'm posting because I haven't slept more than a couple hours a night all week, and it's starting to eat at me. Maybe writing it out will help. So for context, I'm 22, I work in downtown Pittsburgh, and I take the same bus every morning from the same stop around 6:40 a.m. It's early, but I don't mind the routine. My apartment's a 15-minute walk to the stop, and it cuts through this small park with a duck pond and a curved wooden bench under some trees. It's quiet that early, peaceful even. Just bird, the occasional jogger, maybe another commuter or two with earbuds in. Everyone minds their business, except him. It started maybe a month after I moved in. I just crossed through the park on my way to the stop, and as I was waiting, I noticed a man standing a little off, not right at the bench, but maybe 10 or 15 feet away, just standing there. He wasn't doing anything, not reading in his phone, not drinking coffee, just still. And when I looked up, he lifted one hand and waved at me. It wasn't creepy, not then. He looked about 50-ish, maybe older, tall, thin, bundled up in his worn navy jacket with a beanie pulled low. Something about the way he waved felt old-fashioned, like a neighbor you'd see on a porch, waving to everyone who walked by. I gave a small wave back because, I don't know, it just felt rude not to. The bus came a minute later and I got on. I forgot about it. But the next day, he was there again. Same spot, same coat, same wave. And then the next day, and the next. Always standing just a little off to the side, never saying anything, never moving closer, just standing quietly and lifting one hand when our eyes met. He never got on the bus, never spoke to anyone else, never even seemed to check the time. Just stood there and waited for me to look. And I always did. Eventually, it was like trying not to check if a light was still flickering in your peripheral vision. I didn't feel scared. I want to make that clear. I told myself maybe he lived nearby. Maybe he waved at everyone. Maybe he was just a harmless local eccentric. But then I overslept. Just by 40 minutes, my alarm didn't go off and I scrambled around trying to get out the door. I ended catching the 7:20 bus instead of the 6:40 bus. Different crowd, slightly more awake people, but otherwise the same. Until I reached the stop and I saw him still there. Same man, same coat, same spot. And as I walked up, even though it was nearly 40 minutes later than usual, he waved. And I waved back. Slower this time. He smiled. I didn't know what to make of that. Who waits at the park all morning just to wave at someone? Maybe he was retired. Maybe he had nothing better to do. I started walking to the same stop from a different direction after that. I'd come up from the side instead of the back path just to see if he'd noticed. He did. Turned his head before I even reached the bench, waved like always. I started getting the buzzing feeling then, like something was off, but just out of reach. Nothing had happened. Nothing had changed, but it didn't feel sweet anymore. It felt watched. A few days later, I decided not to look at him at all. Just kept my eyes down the whole walk. I felt his presence. I knew he was there, but I didn't look. That morning, he didn't wave. And when the bus came and I stepped on, I turned just a little to glance back out the window. He was still there, facing me, arms at his side, just watching. Okay, now we're on to part 2. It's been about a week since I wrote the last post. I didn't really expect anyone to read it, but some of the replies made me feel better. A few people even messaged me privately. One person said something like, "It's always the ones who don't seem threatening." That line stuck with me, because that's exactly what I've been struggling with. This guy hasn't done anything wrong, not technically. He hasn't followed me, hasn't spoken to me, hasn't crossed the street, but something about his consistency, his presence, is starting to feel like pressure. And now something's changed. It happened 3 days ago. I was running a little late, not oversleeping this time, just dragging my feet. It had rained the night before and the park was all slick concrete and dripping branches. I had my hood up and my earbuds in, no music playing though, just an old trick I used when I wanted to avoid interaction without seeming rude. I was coming up the side path, approaching the bus stop, and I already knew he was there. You know when you don't have to look, you can just feel someone's attention on you before you even see them? That. He was standing a little closer to the bench than usual. Not by much, but enough that I noticed. Still not on my side of the street. Still not doing anything, just there, waiting, watching. But this time, he didn't wave. He just nodded. Just a small tilt of the chin, like we were acquaintances. Sup. Like we'd already spoken that morning and this was the quiet follow-up. And I don't know why that freaked me out more than anything else he's done. But it did. Because the wave, weird as it was, had this harmless energy to it. It was passive, friendly, almost childlike. But the nod felt like an acknowledgement, a decision, like he didn't need to wave anymore. I looked away fast and pretended to check my phone. My fingers were shaking slightly, not from fear, not really, just from this weird, creeping discomfort I couldn't push down, like when you realize the room you're in has one too many mirrors. The bus pulled up a few minutes later, and I got on without looking back. I told myself I was being dramatic. Until yesterday morning. I was making coffee when I heard a knock, not on my front door, the downstairs entryway. My building's buzzer hasn't worked since I moved in, so if someone's at the front, you have to hear it and go down to open it yourself. I wasn't expecting anyone. I looked out my kitchen window. It overlooks the street out front, angled just enough to catch parts of the sidewalk, and I saw him, the man from the bus stop, standing on the sidewalk, facing my building. He wasn't close enough to be the one who knocked. He was maybe 10 feet back, but he was staring directly at my door, not moving, not waving, just still. I stepped back instinctively. My heart did that lurching, tripping thing like it didn't want to catch up to what I was seeing. I stood just out of view for a minute, waiting for the knock again, or maybe footsteps walking away. But there was nothing. No second knock, no movement. When I looked again, he was gone, like he'd never been there. I haven't told anyone in real life yet. Not my roommate, not my boss, not even my sister. And we usually tell each other everything. Because I still feel like I can't explain it properly. If I try to lay it all out, there's a guy who waves at me every day and now he nods. Maybe he's knocking on my building. It sounds stupid, but I know what I felt when I saw him standing there yesterday. I felt recognized, and I don't think I was supposed to know that yet. That's the end of part 2, y'all. Alright, now we're on to part 3. I had this growing pressure in my chest all week. It's not constant, it comes and goes, but when it's there, it feels like standing under a ceiling that's just a little too low. Like if I straighten up all the way, I'll bump my head. I kept checking the street before I leave my building now. I never used to do that, but these past few mornings I stood behind my curtain and just watched, waiting to see if he's already there, and he always is. Still on the opposite side of the street, but a little closer every day. Maybe it's in my head, but I swear he used to stand near the park fence, and now he's practically at the curb. He waves again, no more nods, just the same steady wave, like we're back to normal. Like he didn't stand across from my apartment 3 mornings ago and just stare. Anyways, I've been paranoid, yeah, but I'm not panicking. Until today. I worked from home on Friday, so I didn't leave for the bus this morning. I stayed in pajamas and made my bad coffee, and told myself I was going to shake this feeling off for good. I even made a playlist called Normal and Fine, because I thought being a little dumb about it might help. It did for a while. Around 10:30 a.m., I heard a knock at the door. Not the downstairs buzzer, my actual front door. My stomach dropped. Instinct, I guess? I told myself it was probably a package or the maintenance guy, but I still hesitated for a solid minute before opening it. There was no one there. Just a small, flat box sitting neatly on the mat. It wasn't sealed, the lid was just resting on top like someone had placed it there carefully, like they wanted me to look inside without hesitation. I stood there for a while, not moving. The hallway was so quiet, I could hear the clock ticking in the kitchen behind me. Eventually, I crouched down and lifted the lid.
Okay, everyone, we're gonna have to do a bit of an intermission to shape these nails, but we will get right back into the story after we're done shaping. So I did this Polygel application in only 12 minutes. You know, give or take a couple minutes, but I think that was the fastest application I've ever done in history. Okay guys, so we have all the nails shaped up, and I think this nail shape looks really good on Sister Spice. This might just be one of her new go-to shapes. Now that all the nails are shaped, we're gonna start on this nail art, and Sister Spice is gonna get right back into the creepy story.
Going back into part 3 where we left off, eventually I crouched down and lifted the lid. Inside was a single keychain, red, plastic, in the shape of a lopsided strawberry. It was mine, or it had been mine. I lost it about a month ago. I remember exactly because it used to be attached to the zipper of the tote bag I bring to work. I noticed it missing one night after I got home, and I figured it must have fallen off on the bus or while walking. I hadn't thought about it since, But there it was, clean, not scratched or scuffed, just sitting perfectly centered in this little box like it was a gift. No note, no markings, just something I'd lost, returned to my doorstep without a sound. And that's what messed me up the most, because there's only a few ways someone could have picked that keychain up, and none of them involved someone who should know where I live. I brought it inside and sat with it for a long time, just turning it over in my hands like it might explain something if I stared hard enough. Then I remembered something weird. I didn't lose it on a weekend. It was a Tuesday, the same Tuesday I'd skipped the bus and called in sick with the migraine. I stayed home all day, never left my apartment. So how did it fall off? I've been telling myself there's a reasonable explanation. Maybe I dropped the tote by the front door, maybe it snagged on something, maybe a neighbor found it and remembered it was mine. But none of my neighbors have ever spoken to me, and I sure as helly didn't tell any of them where I live. I left the box on the counter and tried to go back to work. But I couldn't focus. I kept glancing at the window like I'd seen someone standing there, waving. He wasn't, at least not yet. But I think there was a message, and I don't think he was the only one watching me anymore. That's the end of part 3. Alright, here we go into part 4. Okay, so I wasn't planning on posting again this soon. Honestly, I hoped that the weird keychain thing would be the end of it. Some final scare that would shake out and vanish once I ignored it long enough. But after what happened this morning, I don't think ignoring it is an option anymore. First off, thank you to everyone who's been commenting and messaging me. I know this story isn't as wild or dramatic as some of the other stuff on here, but it feels real, because it is. And having a place to share it is helping me stay sane, I think. Anyways, this morning I decided I wasn't going to just let him be there anymore. The man at the bus stop. I wasn't planning anything dramatic. I just wanted to look him in the eye for once. Really look. Not through a window or from the corner of my eye or from across the street. Just look. I wanted to see if he flinched, if he smiled, if he looked confused, if he's normal looking. So I left for the bus like usual. Same path, hoodie, coffee, earbuds in, no music again. And when I got close to the park, there he was, like always. Except today, he was even closer than before. Not at the curb anymore. He was standing right at the edge of the bench, less than 10 feet from the stop. When he saw me, he raised his hand, the same slow, deliberate wave. I walked right up to the bench and stopped. I took my earbuds out, met his eyes, and for the first time since this all has started, I waved first. He dropped his hand. He looked so surprised, like genuinely confused. Like I was the one acting strange. We stood there like that for a second, just looking at each other. He didn't speak and neither did I, but his eyes kept flickering towards the road behind me, like he was watching for something else. Eventually, I broke the silence. I asked him very quietly, Do I know you? He didn't answer. He just shook his head a little, then said something that made my stomach drop. He said, I've been trying to warn you. That's it. No context, no follow-up. He turned and walked away quickly, almost like he regretted saying it. Didn't cross the street, didn't wait for the bus, just left. I didn't follow him. I didn't even move. I just stood there, holding my coffee, heart pounding in my ears. Warn me? Warn me about what? I've spent weeks thinking he was the problem, watching me, following me, creeping me out on purpose. But now I don't know what to think. Was he trying to protect me? Is that worse? He hasn't been at the stop since. 2 mornings now. The first time he missed it since the whole thing began. But now, there's someone else there. Not waving, just watching. I think I need to go through my building security footage. The buzzer camera hasn't worked in months, but there's an old motion sensor camera facing the alley. I've never used it, but the landlord mentioned it when I first moved in. I'm going to ask for the footage from the day that the box showed up on my doorstep. I don't know what I'm hoping to find, but I don't think the man at the bus stop was ever the one I needed to be afraid of. This is the end of part 4.
Just ends like that.
It just ends just like that.
So the waving man is trying to warn her about something.
Yeah.
And now there's somebody else showing up.
Apparently, yeah. She's like just putting these pieces together.
So all he just said was like, I'm trying to warn you.
Yeah.
But he looked scared. Maybe he's not supposed to be warning her.
Yeah, it literally said like he regretted saying that.
Exactly.
Like he wasn't supposed to mention it.
Who has something against him? Who's holding something again over his head? Who is this man?
Like, did somebody put him up to go and watch her?
Right.
And be like,
hey, someone put me up to watch you. I'm warning you. I don't know.
I don't know.
But he's involved in something.
We'll see. All right, on to part 5. This might be the last update for a while. I don't know yet. I still feel like I'm trying to catch up on what happened. Like, this story is already 3 steps ahead of me. But I did get the footage, and I was right, sort of. So, like I mentioned in my last post, my building has this old, rusted motion sensor camera that faces the alley and the back entrance. The landlord warned me when I moved in that it doesn't catch everything, and half the time it records in black and white, like a 90s camera. But I asked anyway. It took some convincing. I had to lie a little. Said I thought someone stole a package and I wanted to check the alley around the day it went missing. He didn't question it too much, just emailed me a handful of clips from the week. Most of it was nothing. Trash trucks, random cars, one neighbor dragging a mattress down the alley in the rain. Don't ask, I have no idea what was in that mattress. Okay, that's a different story.
In the rain.
In the rain.
You had to do it in the rain.
He had to pick in the rain. He's like, we get it done now.
Yeah.
Wash the evidence in the rain. That besides the point. But then I opened a clip from 2 days before I found the box with the keychain, and I saw someone standing at the back door. Not the waving man. Someone taller, wearing a dark hoodie, jeans, and sneakers. Just like any other guy. Mm-hmm. Like a normal random guy. Like, I would wear a hoodie, jeans, and a sneaker too. He had something small in his hand. A box. He just stood there for a second, then looked over his shoulder, crouching down and disappearing off the camera. A few seconds later, he reappeared, his hands empty, and walked back down the alley like he lived there. The footage wasn't clear enough to see his face, but it was enough to tell me something else. The person in the video used a key. I replayed it 5 times, paused, zoomed, tried to convince myself that I was wrong. But the way he moved, the pause, the way his body shifted forward, the subtle clink, it was unmistakable. He unlocked the door, not picked it, not broke in, unlocked it. I went still, because there's only 5 units in this building. Mine, my roommates, the older couple on the bottom floor who are both pushing 80 and barely leave the apartment, and 2 other tenants. One of them is a guy I see every week in the laundry room. I never thought twice about him. Glasses, always polite, quiet, the kind of person you forget the second you stop looking at them. Okay, rude.
Mean.
Okay, that's a little mean. Like, if you have glasses, you're polite and quiet. Like, don't take that personally because that's literally me.
That's all of us.
I don't even know his name. He offered to help me carry a bag of detergent once and complimented my shoes. I didn't think he noticed me. I don't know that it was him in the video. I can't know, not without proof. But now I keep remembering things I didn't pay attention to before. How he always knows when I'm doing laundry, even though I never tell anyone. Like, why would you? Who are you telling you do laundry for?
No one.
Hey, neighbors, I'm doing my laundry. Like, how once I came down and he's already pulled my clothes from the dryer and folded them neatly to save me time.
Okay, no, that's creepy.
Dude, like, my undergarments.
My unmentionables.
My unmentionables. Oh my god. He came down, he pulled her clothes out from the dryer and folded them neatly.
I'm sorry, that is actually a violation. Who told you you could do that?
Imagine me
Going to the laundromat.
I'm like, oh, I need this dryer. Pulls out someone's clothes, folds them nicely. Looks at everything they wear. Oh, you're a size medium. Okay. Like you have mismatched socks. Like, what? Oh my god.
No, that's creepy.
To save me time. How I swore I heard footsteps outside my door once late at night and thought it was the pipes. Go, like, come on, Glow. He thought it was the pipes. What if he made a copy of my key somehow? What if he's been inside? What if the keychain wasn't lost outside my apartment? I haven't seen the waving man since he told me he was trying to warn me. I think he knew. I think he was trying to keep me looking out there, towards the street, towards him, so I wouldn't notice what was happening behind me.
Oh, so the waving man is involved in something. He's got something held over his head, or he's working with this other laundry guy.
I don't know.
Oh my, so he's supposed to be a distraction.
I'm not going to post any of the footage, not yet. I still don't know what to do with it. I haven't told my roommate, I haven't talked to the landlord again. I feel like I'm walking through glass. One wrong move and it's all going to shatter. I'm sleeping with my bedroom door locked tonight, just in case. That's the end of part 5. There's only 6 plots, so this is the last plot we're gonna read.
So she is speculating now. She's like kind of putting the pieces together that there might be something. He might be inside her apartment. Like he might be going inside her apartment.
Yeah, because she mentioned like, what if he had a copy of my key?
Right, she's now trying to think of the what ifs because she's freaked out.
Alright, we're gonna go ahead and start the final part, part 6. This is going to be long, I'm sorry. I know everyone always says this will be my last update, but this time I think I mean it. I'm still shaking even while typing this, but I promised I'd tell you everything, if I even figured it out. So here it is. I found out who the waving man is, and I know who the other one is too. And I'm not sure which realization feels worse. Let me back up. After I saw the footage, the guy using a key to leave that little red strawberry box at my door, I couldn't sleep. I barely ate. I kept watching the hallway like it might shift. I kept hearing small noises I couldn't explain. A creak, a soft knock, a brush of fabric against the wall, and I stopped trusting the locks or myself. Yesterday, I reached out to someone I hadn't planned on contacting. Marla, the woman who used to live in my unit before me. I only knew her name because I saw it once in the mailroom. An old junk flyer had her name and my apartment number on it. I kept it. I don't know why, just instinct, I guess.
Are you serious, narrator? If you got old mail, I'd just throw that away.
Maybe she just didn't care enough.
Yeah, maybe she didn't. Maybe she hoards her mail.
Right. Maybe she just stacks it up somewhere.
It took me a while to find her. Facebook stalking, Reddit searching, all the tricks. But I did. I found her Instagram, then a YouTube video where she was tagged, then a LinkedIn. It felt weird, invasive, but I was desperate. I messaged her. She responded the same night. She asked if I was the new tenant in 3B. I told her yes. And she didn't even hesitate. Her first message back was, "Is he still waving at you?" We ended up talking for almost 2 hours on the phone. Here's what she told me. When she lived here, the waving man used to show up the same way. Every morning, same spot, same gesture. Never got on the bus. Never came close, just watched, just waved. She thought he was a creep too, at first. She even filed a complaint once with the police, but nothing came of it. No crime, no contact. Then she started dating someone. A guy who lived in the building. Quiet, helpful, always around. He'd offer to carry her groceries, do laundry if she was sick, bring her tea, harmless and kind. She didn't think anything of it until she found a camera hidden inside her bookshelf, a small black square tucked between 2 paperbacks, a micro SD card inside. She confronted him. He denied it, gaslit her, told her she was always misplacing things. She didn't believe him. She tried to move out. He didn't let her. She wouldn't give me details, just that it got bad. Scary. That he got inside her head and made her feel like she was the one unraveling. The waving man, she said, was the only one who noticed. He never said anything to her, never came close, but the week she finally left for good, she saw him standing outside her building with the handwritten sign. It said, "You're not crazy." She packed up that night and never went back.
What? I didn't get it.
What do you not get?
It's like vague.
Yeah, she's traumatized probably. It's vague, but she's describing the laundry guy.
Oh.
She literally said, whatever, do your laundry for you, whatever. Yeah, she's describing the laundry guy that still lives there. He's doing the same thing to her. There's probably a hidden camera in her apartment.
You're probably right. He probably, pre-installed.
Mm-hmm.
When I asked her if she knew who the man was, the one who waved, she said no. Only that she thinks he used to live here. Maybe years ago? Maybe even in my exact unit. She tried to look him up once and couldn't find anything. Just blank records like he'd been wiped. But she was sure of one thing. He's not the one you need to worry about. After I hung up, I sat on the kitchen floor for a long time. Lights off, phone in my lap. I felt hollow. Then I heard it. A soft sound. Just one. The doorknob turning. Slowly. Not shaking or forcing, just testing. Like someone's trying a key. I didn't move. I didn't breathe. I just stared at the door and waited for the click, but it didn't come. Eventually the sound stopped. I stayed there for another hour before I moved again.
Whole fight or flight is like, she's stuck there.
She's frozen.
This morning, I didn't go to work. I didn't take the bus. I sat on the floor with a baseball bat and my phone in my lap. At 6:40 a.m., I looked out the window, and there he was, the man who always waved, standing across the street, right in front of the bench. Not waving, just watching my building. I didn't wave back, but I whispered, "Thank you, thank you. I swear I saw him nod." He turned and walked away. I don't think I'll see him again. And I think that's his way of saying, now it's your turn to leave. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I haven't told my roommates. I haven't gone to the police. I don't know what I'd even say. But I know this. The man in the hallway isn't done. The locks don't matter anymore. And the strawberry keychain wasn't a gift. It was a warning to show me how close he's already been. Ooh, now that makes sense. like it's a warning. Okay, part 6 was the final part, so I'm gonna go ahead and read a couple of comments that are here. One of them says, when you described how the box was placed on your doormat, lid not sealed, yeah, that kind of detailed messed me up. He wanted you to see it. He wanted to watch you see it. What do you think of that?
I guess he wanted to make sure she saw it. She couldn't have just like taken the box and just like never opened it, you know?
Another commenter, low-key not buying the waving man is a stranger. Feels more like he's involved somehow. Maybe he's the original guy in the apartment and he knows how it starts. Another comment, the guy in the building, he's still there, isn't he? You never said if you moved. If you're still posting from inside, please just leave. Cameras don't stop people who already have keys. Yeah, those are some of the comments. And she actually has one final update. It's really short. So her very final update that she posted, it looks like the timeline is like 12 days later. So like she posted like a long time. Final edit. I wasn't going to say anything, but I tried to leave. I packed. I found a sublet. I had everything lined up. But 2 days before I was supposed to go, my lease renewal showed up, already signed. By me. The signature looks like mine, but I never touched it. And now the landlord won't return my calls. I don't think I'm allowed to leave anymore.
That's it. So we don't know what happened to her. She's stuck in that apartment still.
Yeah, she's probably still stuck in the apartment. What are your guys' thoughts on this story? Alrighty, I'm gonna move on to our next story. This one's titled, My Son's Camera Monitor Alerted in the Middle of the Night. I checked it and saw my wife and son sitting on the bed. They weren't my wife and son. And now we're in the no sleep subreddit. I'm a nurse and I'm currently working nights. It's a total drag, but I'm hopeful I can go to days soon since some coworkers are planning on retirement. Anyway, I was working one night when just after 3 a.m., my son's motion alerted me to sounds of movement. No big deal at all. He probably coughed loudly or sneezed or something. He's 3 now, so he generally sleeps all night. I bring it up on my phone and I see him and my wife sitting on the bed. Again, no big deal. He might have cried out or gotten scared or something. I was about to close the app when I noticed they were acting strange, almost creepy. And when I say almost creepy, I mean creepy as balls. They were sitting on the bed together, both of them just staring up at the camera with blank, emotionless stares. The night vision is black and white, so they had white, eerie-looking eyes. They didn't move at all, aside from their visible breathing. They just sat there and stared at the camera. I closed the app and give my wife a call to make sure everything's okay. I never get to call home on lunch, so in a way, this is kind of nice to get to talk to my family while at work. Hey guys, you okay? Huh? Yeah. Buddy, my son's nickname, came in like 15 minutes ago. Seems so scared. I said he could sleep with Mama. I'm confused here since I just saw them in the room a minute ago. Like literally 60 seconds had passed since I closed the app and made the call. Wait, so you guys are in bed? Yeah, I fell back asleep right away. Everything okay? Everybody keeps waking me up. She's kind of annoyed. Hang on a sec. I put her on speaker and bring up the app, hoping I don't see it. When the app loads, I get the pang of intensive nervousness in my stomach that I haven't had in a long time, since I was a kid in school and realized I was eating breakfast, a paper or something was due that day and I hadn't done it. My heart leaps into my throat. My wife and my son are sitting in his bed, looking up at the camera. Same emotionless stare. Hello? You guys are right in bed. Yeah, we're trying to sleep. Well, I'm looking at his camera and I see you two sitting on his bed. Huh? No, we're in our bed. I know that's what you mean, but I'm looking at his bed and you two are in there. Hang on, she says. She's quiet for a second while she brings up the camera on her phone. I hear this guttural, terrifying gasp, like she sucked all the air in the room into her lungs, filling them to capacity. I don't hear this kind of gasp from my wife often, usually when she's truly afraid, like during a jump scare in a movie or one time when we turned her back on our son for literally a second and he was down by the mailbox, inches from the road. I hear rustling of sheets and the line goes dead. Doot, doot, doot. Of course, now I'm absolutely terrified myself, so I immediately call back. It goes to voicemail. So I call again. I call again and again with no answer. Finally, about 4 minutes, she calls me. I tell you, that 4 minutes felt like 40 years. Hey, what's happening? I ask. She's absolutely hysterical and crying. I can't understand a word she says. Stop, slow down for a second, I say. She slows down enough to explain they're in the car and driving to her parents. What the flip happened? She looked at the camera, and when she saw what was on it, she got up and grabbed our son and rushed down the stairs and out the door. Didn't even close the garage. I don't blame you. Don't worry about it, I said. I'll drive by when I get off and close it. We live in a generally safe neighborhood, so I'm not too concerned the door is up. You will not go in there, she says. Heck no, I return. Why are we on the camera? She asked. Is it recording? I don't know, I return. I'm gonna keep watching it, and if there's anything I can tell, do our code words with Buddy. We have code words because we're nerds. We've seen too many people in imposter movies, so we decided a long time ago to make code words with each other to be able to tell if one of us was an imposter. Wow, this comes in really handy for this specific situation. We have a couple of code words, but we also have 3-sentence stories we recite together, each saying a different part alternatively of each other. I hear her on the phone saying the things we taught our son. He giggles and he says them. He does this every time we practice, since he thinks they're a joke and doesn't have any idea of the real meaning. We're both convinced he's our son. What?
So now they're trying to check if each other are imposters.
Yes, trying to check if they're imposters because they saw random people on the camera. And it's like, what if that wasn't my son and my son is with the imposter and they switched? My wife then says our part and I'm convinced she's her. We made up these words as a complete joke to ourselves. I never once in my life ever imagined we'd actually need them. Unreal. She got to her parents safely and it was hard to hang up. I told her we'll figure it out in the morning. Hopefully it's just a glitch.
A glitch. Oh.
Like in the camera.
Yeah.
She said she didn't think it was a glitch. When she was running out, she had to run by our son's room and the door was open. There's a little flashing light on the back of the camera that indicates it's connected to the internet. It gives off just enough light that when she ran by, she thought she saw, out of the corner of her eye, a shadowy outline of what could have been an adult sitting on our son's bed. It sent chills down my spine to think about it. Knowing they were safe and out of the house is the only thing that kept me at work that night. It was a long 4 hours, but I kept checking the cameras every chance I got. Sure enough, they were still sitting on the bed, staring up at the camera with emotionless gazes. You know, I can see maybe the camera glitched and just froze on that.
It just froze there.
It just froze.
But did the wife just not say that she saw someone?
She did. She did say out of the corner of her eye she saw someone. I studied them to see if I could see any patterns from their breathing to their blinking. Their breathing was steady and looked normal. It was their blinking that would tell me if this was just some kind of bizarre time loop freak accident video or not. I intently stare at my phone and count the seconds between each blink, telling myself if this is a loop, then the blink should be even and occur at the same time each time. There was no pattern in their blinking. It was erratic and random, just as a person blinking should be. The passing hours are what finally sealed the deal, that this was not a weird loop video of some kind. My son's window is visible on camera, and I can see on the camera that it's getting lighter outside in his room. His curtains keep out just enough light to prevent the camera from exiting night vision, but lets in just enough to be able to tell the sun was rising. Okay, that's not some glitch. I tried to figure out what the heck is going on before I leave work. Calling the police comes to mind, but I talk myself out of it. First of all, what am I supposed to say? Someone's in my house that looks like my wife but isn't? What if they are entities of some kind and the police do go over and it hurts them or something? I decided to tell my coworker about it. He's a firm believer in the paranormal and might have a suggestion. I show him the video and tell him the story. His initial response of, "That's creepy," but doesn't help much. But he says he wants to go over and check it out. He says we both should, to see if not my wife will try and act like my wife. I tell him absolutely not. And he says we should start at least to go to the house, even if we don't go in. I agree on that since I wanted to close the garage. We got to my house and walked around the perimeter first. Not sure what we wanted to accomplish by that, but felt like something we should do. The curtains were all drawn since nobody was there to open them in the morning, so we couldn't see anything. I went to close the garage and suddenly had this overwhelming urge to go inside and investigate. It was like I just had to know what's going on. So we went in. We walked through the kitchen towards the foyer where the stairs are. It's so quiet in our house right now you could hear a feather drop. Forget the pin. We stopped at the bottom of the stairs and waited a few seconds. I looked at the camera again and they are still sitting there. I've never been so scared in my life. My coworker puts his foot on the first step and I suddenly say stop, loudly. Forget this, we're out of here. I tell him, come on. I start making my way back to the kitchen. We hear a loud creak in the floor from upstairs. It's my son's room. He had a very loud, squeaky board right in the middle of his floor that's almost impossible not to step on. My wife and I are still deciding if we ever want to fix it because it will alert us if he's ever up to no good when he gets older trying to sneak out or something. Come on, come on, come on! I yell as I motion for him to move his butt. We're out of the house in 2 seconds. Out on the street, I check my phone. Now, only not my son was sitting on the bed, same blank stare. Not my wife was gone. Oh my gosh, my coworker says. That was stupid of us. Do not tell my wife we went inside. She would so be ungodly mad if she found out what we just did. I used my garage door opener in my car to close the door. Before we leave, I look at the camera again. Not my wife is back on the bed with not my son, both staring blankly up at the camera, blinking every few seconds. This was all about 4 days ago. Not my wife and not my son are still on the bed, staring up at the camera. They haven't moved a millimeter. We obviously haven't gone back to the house. What do we do? Some of the commenters say, set the house on fire.
That's not your house anymore.
It's not your house anymore. Just call the police. If the thing is inside or dangerous, better send in the boys. They got the best chance here. This post is 3 years old. Did you ever find out who was in the room? And that was 2 years ago. So this post is 5 years old at this point in time that we're reading this. All right, part 2 of the story. I'm sorry it's taken so long. It's been an emotional month. I felt like I'm losing my mind or already lost it. I've been in the hospital for 3 weeks. You'll remember I left off at my wife's parents' house, not sure what on earth to do. My wife and I argued about it. My in-laws said, call the priest. I told my wife we're calling the cops, and that's it. The day we finally called the cops would be day 6. Not my family was still in the bed, staring at the camera. I told the dispatcher there were intruders in my house, leaving out the part where they looked exactly like my family. I told her we were out of the house, but I would meet the police there. She dispatched 2 units. My wife begged me not to go. I told her I had to be there. I had a foolproof plan. I would take her mom's iPhone and FaceTime my wife while showing the police the camera on my phone. They would see this is actually a messed up situation and hopefully proceed with caution. My coworker friend, he would come with me as well. My friend and I beat the cops to my house. Like most of you mentioned in the comments previously, I came with protectionary items. I was not concerned this would bother the cops as I was going to inform them of my permit for the protectionary item. The cops showed up and I let them know I was carrying and enacted my plan. I initially told them the story. They looked at each other like I was crazy and they didn't believe me. I FaceTimed my wife so they could see she was in fact not in the house despite our cameras was showing. They still didn't believe me, but this did pique their interest. I hung up with my wife and told her I'd call her back as soon as we knew something. So now we're sure this isn't a recording, an officer stated, repeating what I said. It's not. The day/night cycle has changed every day. Their blinking is erratic and not cyclical, like it was a repeat, I said. I know it's a stupid question, but your wife isn't a twin? The other officer asked. I told him no. My friend spoke up. I have an idea. Turn the volume up. I'll go throwing a pebble at the window. He went around back while I turned the volume up to the max. Okay, I'm tossing. We heard the light tick sound from outside, but the 1 second delay on the camera came in loud and clear through my phone. Not my wife moved at the sound of the pebble hitting the window. The first time I'd actually seen her move, aside from the time she wasn't on the screen when I initially went inside our house the first day. She turned her head towards the window just slightly before turning back the camera. Okay, so this is live, an officer said. Okay, sir, I need you and your friend to stay outside here. We're going to go in and find out what's going on. Should you ask for more units? I asked hopefully. Not at this time. We're going to assess the situation first. They don't appear to be armed, but we're going to be cautious. I opened the garage for them and they made their way in towards the kitchen door. They radio dispatched that they were headed inside and to stand by. They disappeared into my house. A few seconds after they went in, the camera went out. I wanted to vomit, and it felt like I put my fingers in my mouth. I'd be able to feel my heart since it had leaped so far up my throat. Oh no! I yelled to my friend. I immediately popped the trunk and got my weapon out and ran into the garage, my friend right behind me. We got inside just in time to hear a low, guttural howl from upstairs, demonic sounding almost. Along with raised voices from the police, there were several shots.
Oh, wow.
Need backup! Shots He was cut off. Oh my gosh, my friend howled. He was scared, but so was I. Gosh darn it, I knew it, I said, running up the stairs. My son's room is the first one you come to after getting upstairs, so his walls is also what you see as you walk up the stairs. As I reached the top, I laid into the wall with my weapon. I placed the weapon against the wall and then started firing. I felt like I fired all over the place, knowing full well the ammo would go through the wall like it was paper. Concentrating where my son's bed would be, but also near the door and towards the floor, as well in case whatever these things were tried to duck. We heard shrieks of pain coming from the room, then nothing. Like, where's the police? What are the polices in there? He didn't even say where the police were. My friend and I paused for a minute before deciding to go in because the camera was still out. We heard a whimpering coming from the room. There was a cop downed in the hallway. We started walking towards my son's room, and we found the other cop right in the doorway. It looked like he was torn apart, exactly what I was afraid of what would happen. Whatever these things were got them. When we entered the room, we found the source of the whimpering was not my wife. She was laying on her back on the floor, holding her torso, breathing heavy. I now know, just like I did then, they weren't my family. It shouldn't have been hard. I should have been able to just let it go and finish it, but instead I fell to my knees. Not my wife begged for her life. Please, I don't want to go out this way, honey, she whimpered. I want to have more kids. I can't go out now. I looked over at not my son. He's already gone. Again, I knew it wasn't my son, but it was. I turned my back to not my wife. She was acting just like my wife. It even mimicked her anxiety that she had in the past year or so. It's not her, man. I forgot my friend was there. It's not about her. Go on. End it. I know what you guys are thinking. How many times has this happened in movies and you screamed at your TV for the main character to just end the imposter because they're not the loved one? I guess movies get it right somehow. I'll never roll my eyes at a character who can't end an imposter again. Please don't, it begged. My hands were shaking. Why couldn't I do it? I knew this wasn't my wife. Listen, man, my friend began calmly. Look at it. It's not your family. Look at it. It's oozing yellow. It's not your family. Was it yellow? It was. Seeing my family laying there was so traumatic. I hadn't even noticed that it was oozing yellow. I studied my weapon, and not my wife suddenly began begging. She began that guttural, terrifying shriek, and something black or gray started to protrude from her mouth.
What the?
Like a tentacle or something, and I fired. Whatever these things were, they appeared to be mortal. I was still on my knees, and my friend was out in the hallway just outside the door. We heard the sound of approaching police sirens. I forgot that the other cops had called for backup over the radio. It seemed like it'd been hours, but it's only been 5 minutes since the police had gone in. My friend went downstairs to let the police know what to expect. I stood up and slowly made my way into the hallway. I was lightheaded and felt like I was going to be sick. My bedroom is adjacent to my son's, so the doorway is about a foot to the right of my son's doorway. My door was closed, but as I exited my son's room, my door opened. Not me walked out in the hallway, wearing exactly the same thing I was at the time. I was shocked in place. I couldn't move, but it did. It walked towards me, and its right arm turned black and morphed into whatever appeared to be a tentacle. It was wiggling around like a squid or an octopus appendage. When he thrusted his arms at me, it solidified and impaled me through my abdomen. Then it got me on my leg just above my kneecap. I fell to the ground in pain. The tentacle arm was wiggling again. Why did you kill my family? Why did you end my family? It asked. When it spoke, its voice changed pitch several times. It was my voice and much deeper than normal again. It altered several times, saying that one sentence. It moved in closer. My weapon was gone that I had by my side. So I pulled out my secondary weapon that was in my pocket. I got to hit its right knee. It growled. As Not Me fell to his knees, I hit him a couple more times. I wounded him pretty badly. It's breathing heavily for a few seconds before I used my last strength to aim proper and hit Not So Me in the face with my weapon. It was also oozing out yellow as well. I lay there thinking this was it for sure. I still had some strength and adrenaline kicking in me, so I took my belt off and tried to make a tourniquet for my leg. With my stomach wound, it was really hard to give it a good yank to tighten it. I then took my shirt off and balled it up and packed my stomach and applied as much pressure as I could on the wound. Being a nurse probably saved my life. I passed out, but the measures I took must have kept me alive long enough for the EMS to arrive. I heard raised voices and the sound of pounding coming up the stairs before I went out. It was probably a cop, but I felt pressure from somebody trying to keep my wound packed before I went. I was in and out of consciousness as EMS arrived, along with probably every cop in the city. I was wheeled down the stairs and put into an ambulance. But while I was being loaded onto the gurney upstairs, I heard a cop freak out, and rightfully so. They'd lost 2 brothers, and there were 3 others down. Did he end his brother, or are they twins? Probably referring to not me's body. Or his whole family? Put him on armed guard while he's at the hospital. He'll probably be getting charged. As I was getting placed into the ambulance, I saw my friend talking to a group of 10 cops, all listening very intently to what he was saying. I was out again in the ambulance. I woke up in the ER. My wounds have been treated. The tentacle hadn't been more than a few inches wide, so it was just slightly larger than a regular kitchen utensil. They'd sewn me up, and I found I was currently receiving a blood transfusion to do blood loss at my house. My wife had authorized them to do whatever they needed while I was unconscious. She was also extremely, extremely mad that I went in the house. We're okay now, but that's a story for another day. I was in the hospital for 3 weeks since I ended up getting an infection and almost went septic. I needed quite a few antibiotics. For the entire 3 weeks, I had cops in my room with questions. After about a week, they released me and no longer had me under armed guards. I told them absolutely everything, not caring if it made sense or not. And thank goodness my friend had come with me since he was able to corroborate the whole weird story. Midway through my hospital stay, men with suits came to pay me a visit. They were government. I knew right away. They said they were FBI, but I don't know if I believe that. They wanted to talk about not my family. The police chief and the coroner were involved, and it was very hush-hush. They made it clear that this was not to get out to the public. This is where I have to apologize, probably for anticlimactic ending to this whole ordeal. I don't know what not me and my family were, neither do they. The only thing we know is that they were sentient creatures that looked like us and had yellow ooze. I begged the coroner to tell me about their autopsies, but he said he wasn't allowed to say. He must have felt bad for me since I received a bouquet of flowers a couple days later. The card inside the envelope read, "We don't know what they are. They have the same organs we do, but different parts of their body, aside from the brain. But what's red and pink inside of us is green and yellow inside of them. They're humanoid creatures, but whatever they aren't human. The government thinks they may be extraterrestrial. Destroy this later ASAP." We had our house professionally cleaned. It was almost surely a government team since they contacted us on behalf of the police. We could not find any Google reviews or websites for the company online. My wife and I are not going back to our house. We would love to burn it to the ground, but there's no way to do that to avoid suspicion of arson at this point. We'll end up taking a huge loss on the property. Everyone in our neighborhood knows there was a bad incident in that house, but they don't know what actually happened. It'll be hard to sell, but eventually it will. We're going to move on from here. I told everyone at work it was a home invasion and they bought it. I'll go back to work in a couple of weeks and we'll start looking for a new home. Again, I'm sorry. I know everyone wanted a concrete ending and to know exactly what those things were, but we just don't know. Aliens sounds good to me. I've been thinking if they were supernatural or actual demons, the weapons we used wouldn't have been able to end them. It's just hard to say if they were aliens. Why did they just sit there like creeps in our house for a week? They didn't even try to take over our lives. It's just hard to wrap my head around it. If it is aliens, keep your eyes peeled out there. There could be more of them. The end. I'm gonna read some comments. In what dimension are you living in? This needs to be a movie. Though, if you got here from TikTok. Alright guys, that was the last of my story. I hope you enjoyed them and please leave your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to read everybody's comments about it. So that's all the Reddit stories for today's episode. Stay tuned for the next video where we do my second hand with the new nail design and new stories. Sister Spice out. Bye!
And here are how Sister Spice's nails turned out. Let us know what you guys think of this nail set in the comments. Sister Spice, what are your thoughts?
These nails are gorgeous.
Yep, she's a woman of very few words, but I think she likes them. We have a orange, bright, summery nail design. We did duck nails on Sister Spice for the first time. What do you think of the duck nails?
I like it. They're like chunky nails.
So on the pointer finger, we have some orange zebra with flower charms. We did a 3D flower in the middle, and then these these hibiscus flowers on the ring finger, and then some of this line art with the dots on the pinky nail, and then the thumbnail is a orange ombre with the 3D gel. This is how her nails turned out. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Nails and Nightmares. We will be back again to do Sister Spice's other hand in the next episode, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But that is pretty much it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and we will talk to you guys next time. Bye!